Hey guys, Matt from Upsilon Mining coming back at you with another video, a new server case. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so today what we are going to be doing is taking all of the GPUs from this hanging rig here and moving them into a new SpiderMiner version 2 server case. Now this is a hanging rig, so there's a lot of I had a lot of fun building it, but there's a couple issues with it. One, it's heavy and large and cumbersome. Move it around, it takes a lot of creativity. A lot of bits and pieces can fall and dangle off of it, so it's not a very good thing to pick up and move around when you need to for finding optimal cooling locations. So that's one issue. Second issue, I had to run off 2 power supplies in this thing just because I didn't have one power supply that was beefy enough to power all these. So that added weight and extra wires, and it's just clumsy basically. So hanging rigs essentially just kind of clumsy. So what I'm going to do now is start unplugging all of the GPUs here one by one and moving them over into the server rig. Now this rig also has a lot of cooling issues because there's not a lot of airflow sucking air through or around the cards. I tried to add some fans to the left and the right side of it and hang the fans around and whatnot, but you're really at the mercy of the ambient air temperatures and airflow around the hanging rig. So it's not really best for large farms. I don't think it's good for maybe if you're starting out with 1, maybe 2 rigs. You can use a hanging rig, save a few bucks by getting an Amazon rack, but I've evolved past that. So let's get all these off and into the server case. So guys, a few months ago I did a video on the V1 SpiderMiner, which is a lower cost alternative to other server cases such as the Octominer, as an example. And these are available in Canada. I was able to get this from spiderminer.ca. I'll put a link in the description below. But this is their version 2 miner, which means it has PCI Express 4.0, I believe, on the slots, which means they can support higher end cards like 3070s, 3090s, etc., etc. And it also has a beefier power supply. Now it has a wider footprint, so it's wider this way and it's longer this way. So the spacing between the cards is wider. I believe it's about 70 millimeters, and the length of the case itself is also longer, so that it can fit cards such as these right into it. So what we have here is the hanging rig I dismantled basically. So we have two 3060s, a 3060 Ti, 2 3080 Ti's, and one 3080. And this is pulling around 1400 watts at the wall with the hanging rig. So part of what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take all of these cards, put them into the new SpiderMiner server case. We're going to measure the power output once again to find out what the power consumption is, see if there's any efficiencies over the other setup, and then go from there. So we're going to start with just these 6, but this thing can support up to 8 as long as I don't go over the 80% rule of the power supply. And speaking of the power supply, I did remove the screws for the top. So let's take the top off and take a look inside at this thing of beauty. I love that it's black. It's just great looking. So here we are. We have a power supply with a maximum power output of 2000 watts at 220 volts. I'm not sure you can see it there, but it is 240. Sorry, I'm running 240, so I'll be able to get around 2000 watts. 80% rule, 1600 will be the most. So even if I load up this pull guy with those cards, pulling around 1400, maybe I can pull another 200 watts out of it. It'll still be within that 80% range, so it should be okay. So without further ado, I'm going to get all these installed in this and hook up the power cables to it in just 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I just got one in. This is the Zotac 3080 Ti. Barely fit. This is a very long card, but it barely fit here. It's just touching the fan over here, but it's not really impeding the fan spinning, obviously. So what you do is close to each slot, there's actually a splitter with 2 PCI Express cables that run out. You can use that to power each card as you go along. I'll just keep plugging them in and get them all in. Okay guys, so we ran into a snag. Although the first one kind of fit fairly tight. When I got to the Gigabit 3080 Ti, it was jamming against the inside of the fan. So what I've done is I've switched the fans to the outside of the case. It's still blowing air this way, and it should force the air, like the hot air inside. Like if you take a look inside, it's still gonna force the air from the inside out. But now I have the problems of these wires being on this side. So what I'm gonna do is, I got a Christmas tree bit like this. I'm gonna just drill a hole here next to each fan and run the wires through that way. I prefer not to have to do this, but a little provisioning never hurt anybody. So let's improvision. A little bit of improvision never hurt anybody. So let's drill the holes in there. I'll run the wires through, plug them into the main board, and then I'll get all the cards put in, and then I will see you in a second. Here we go, guys. We have it up and running. It's very loud. It's got 4 very powerful ISIC fans. It's really sweet to rate sideways like this. So on over here, we're just doing the update in HiveOS. It's taken a while. So once I get it updated, I will start the overclocks. Okay, so HiveOS is updated on it. I just wanted to talk real quickly about the case itself. The case looks really slick, and the cool thing about it is you can actually stand this case on its side as well, and it looks pretty cool, and it takes off less, I guess, less gravitational force on the fans, which actually allows the bearings inside to last a little longer. But that's another discussion. If you actually lay it this way, as meant to be in a PC case, the fans are actually, the longevity is actually improved. I'm not sure about how much, but I have read that. The case itself is great. I had them space these out a bit because, so these are 3060s and they seem to fit just fine. 3060, 3060, 3060 Ti. This is 3080. Then we got a 3080 Ti, another 3080 Ti. This one is very thick. I think it's the thickest one in there almost. So when it was up against, when it was in this slot here, it was like literally there's no room between this one and that one. So I spaced it out that way. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to add more GPUs to this, just because there's just not a lot of room. If you take a look at the shroud on this, it comes out like right next to that slot. So any card that goes right in front of it will be jammed up against it, and I'm worried about overheating issues. I guess I could try and see what it does, but this case will be pulling around a little over 1400 watts. Let's get it hooked up downstairs and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So before I do that, like I said, 2000 watts, 80% roll on 240, looking at about 1600 watts. Right here, we're already at, like in the other configuration on the hanging rig, we were at just over 1400 watts on one power supply. So I could probably add another 3060. That'll bring up to 7 cards. So I may be able to do that and put it in this slot here. So I'll run 7 on here, and that won't push the capacity of this power supply too high. The other option is to run another power supply, but there's no room really to fit one in here. Even if I ran 2 1200 watt power supplies, the output still is roughly the same as this one. I mean, you could potentially fit maybe 2. I don't think so. There's not enough room here. So yeah, it's not like an Octominer where you can actually have 3 1200 watts, 3600 watts. So that's one downside. But other than that, I mean, for the price, I paid $569. These were on sale for $569 plus tax. In Canada, I picked up Mississauga. Check out the link, and I'm gonna go hooked up downstairs, and I'll be on HiveOS in just a second. Yo guys, okay, so it's been a crazy hot day today. It's absolutely ridiculous. The number on the left there, 41 degrees, 41.0 degrees Celsius. That's how hot it is downstairs in the mining basement. It's about 54 to 55 degrees in some of those grow tents. It is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting because it's like around 30 degrees today. And yeah, it's 35 degrees right now where I'm at. It's super hot, like where I'm sitting right now. I put this thing in a server case, and downstairs, this is how we're doing. So this is the server case rig 003. We're pulling the same amount of hash rate out, so roughly upper 40s for the 3060s because we're using the LHR unlock, an NVMiner actually. I updated all the HiveOS software. It took quite a while. The HiveOS servers are slow as balls right now, guys. I also did an update to the Nvidia drivers, and if you guys haven't done that, there's a fast way to do it by using a different URL for a different download. You can actually run the update from a different source. Looks like it's Nvidia official, quite a bit faster than actual HiveOS sources or URLs. So if we take a look here, we're getting pretty good here. So the gigabit one was having a lot of heating issues before, and it's improved being in this case. We're looking at 66 degrees on the core, 94 on the memory, pulling around 96.73. I could probably even push it up to get more. That's been throttled down just because of the heat issues. So I'm going to see if I can push that up a little further and see how I do in that one. The other ones are doing really good as well. The 3080 Ti, the Zotac, is pulling 118 now at 69 core, 110, which is quite a bit hot for the memory, obviously. So I'm going to probably look into what I can do with the memory. Look at probably replace thermal pads on that one at some point. 3080 Asus right now is looks like we're pulling out 84.81, so that's not doing too good. That's throttling pretty heavily, but I mean we're on roughly the same number, the same kind of hash rate as we had prior to this. Just that it's so hot downstairs, guys. You don't understand. It's really hot, and even these ones are a bit slow. Normally they can hit closer to 50. 36 Ti, this can hit closer to 60 when it's not disgusting and hot out. So as temperatures improve, I know it's going to get better. It's supposed to get cold tonight, cooler and cooler for us. So we thank effing God, because it is hot. Guys, look at my farm. I'm dying, and I've been monitoring it like nonstop, like a freaking fiend. Like I got cards here in the tent pushing at 78 degrees in the core. I know that's not good, but like I said, it's not running like that 24/7, 365. This is just on hot days. This can get like that, and it's only for a few hours, and it drops right down. Usually, we get green after like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So chill out if you're gonna be lecturing me about these temperatures being too high. It's short bursts of time, and anyone running a decent sized farm probably has the same issues, unless you have industrial air conditioning. Okay, so as for this case itself, I'm really happy with this, guys. I'm really happy. The SpiderMiner is a good case. Long-term longevity, I am not 100% sure how well it's going to be. We're pulling around 14. Let's see here. So before we were pulling 1442. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if that means anything to you. But now we're pulling we're pulling 1452 before. Now we're pulling 1440, around there. So we didn't really I think the other hanging rate had less efficient motherboard and GPU, and CPU on there, because it's like a Ryzen 16 core Threadripper, completely overkill. This one is obviously more lean down, more efficient server motherboard for mining specifically with a really efficient CPU. But where we get bit here is with the ASIC fans, or the high CFM fans on this case. But these fans are actually keeping the cards cool. I mean, we're hitting up to close to 70 now on some of these cores, but I don't think it's going to get in dangerous territory like 80s and whatnot. And if it does, hopefully as the temperatures dip throughout the day, it won't be as bad. So yeah, this is the big 12 GPU 1660 Ti rig actually right now. So yeah, I got some issues here. This rig 5, this one I changed a thermal paste the other day because this was hitting 87, which is gonna like kill the GPU, I think, if left like that for too long. So I went to replace the thermal paste. It dropped it like 8 degrees, but we're still hitting 79. This is in the garage, and the rest of the cards are fairly good, not in the red. But this is a 1660 Super single fan. Anyways, guys, go to SpiderMiner.ca. SpiderMiner.ca. There you go. Put a link in the description box below. If you guys are in Mississauga, you can pick them up. They got a warehouse. Really nice guy there. I can recommend it totally. Super friendly. I was able to go order online and skip the shipping, save some money on shipping, and actually go pick it up in person. I bought 2 of these V3 cases, and I bought another V1 case, and they got a sale on right now, actually. Not affiliated, not at all, but I'm a fan of the product. It's pretty good so far. I can't see how it's going to be in 2 years down the line, but so far, really good. I got, right now as it stands on my farm, I have 2 of these up and running, and I have 1 of these up and running, another one, and I also have 2 more from Alibaba coming that I'm going to test out as well with 3300 watt power supplies that are, I'm hoping to get the 3080 and 3090 rig on and solve up some of those heat problems I have on those rigs as well, because those have been crashing probably the most, these 2 right here. This is the 3070s or 3090s. It's just throttling like crazy. Like this is ridiculous. 75 and some 106 on the GPU memory. This pads and the thermal paste was replaced on it. So don't get on me about that. I actually, when I first got this, I pulled them all apart. I put thermal right pads, front and back, the right sizes. I did a lot of research on this when I read it and everything. The GPU paste, put it around the center where like there's like a heat connector. There's like a where the heatsink connects to the die or whatever. There's like a metal circular, not a circular, metal perimeter around where you do the cards on the 3090s. Let me just look at that real quick. Let's go on here. Oh, my key. Okay. 3090 Dell thermal pads. Yeah, so these 3090s and 3080s are both by Dell, and I did a replacement on this. And the thing you got to do is, like here, I don't know if you guys have one of these Dell. I got a lot of these Dell are Alienware. You have to put thermal paste all like around here. So you get these, pull these stickers off. You put thermal paste on here, and on here, and on here, and like all around. And what that's going to do is it's actually good when this metal, this is actually metal, it's not plastic. This metal base here will press down on it and help dissipate the heat away from the memory as well, and get some of those temps down. So I did that, I did the pads, and we're still having issues with like this because it's just so bloody hot down there. So I'm hoping when I get those server cases with those beefier power supplies, I'll be able to get those in the cases. Obviously, safety is always first. We were pulling 1400 watts on this power supply. Let me just do a quick calculation to show what sort of safety factor we're looking at. So this is rated at 2000 watts. Let's take a look here at the SpiderMiner again. We'll go over here to the SpiderMiner. I might order more. I don't know. I'm just addicted to getting these server cases because I think they're really cool, and they do work. They do work without the premium price. Like I might want to get an Octameter one of these days, but I'm not going to buy 10 of them. That's just stupid. Like, I'm not spending 20 grand on server cases. It's just ridiculous. My strategy right now, let me just, where can I go here? Where is this? DP miners. Trying to go to the, okay, here we go. It's pretty loud, so keep that in mind. They got 4 ASIC fans in there. Power supply, everything's incorporated in here. So unlike the V1s, the power supply is actually inside the case itself. Like, it's actually inside this area here, whereas the V1s power supplies are separate. Not really a big problem to me. The wires seem of decent quality. I don't think there's any issues to worry about, like the memory melting or whatever. Hope not. We're looking at RAM, so 4 gigabytes of RAM. You only really need 4. It's 64 gigabyte SSD. Intel Celeron. It supports up to 8 GPUs, PCIe Gen 4. So because some of the higher 3090s and 3080s require higher PCI generations, so you won't be able to use the older type of motherboards like the V1, for example. So you could run other cards in the V1, like 20 series, 10 series if you want, 580, 570s, even 8200s. I'm able to run also the 6600 series AMDs. I'm not sure about the higher end AMDs, but yeah, you gotta be vigilant of which type of PCIe it has. And the power supply here, so back to where I'm at, 2000 watts. So we're looking at, for 110 volt, maximum 1500 watts, 80% rule, that's about 1200. And 220, so I'm running 240 volt. You get a max output of 2000 watts, 80% rule on that one. So 2000 times 0.8, 1600, we're at 1440, I think it is. Where's the number? 1440, which gives us 160 watts remaining. So I could probably add one more 3060 on here just to fill in the slots a little more, but I wouldn't want to put like another 3080 Ti or 3090 or something like that, because it's just going to push it past, the 1600 watt threshold. And I'm not, to be honest, I'm not 100% comfortable with like these Chinese power supplies running like way too much over the 80%. So I always try to stick to under the 80% if I can get that, maybe 75%. So anyways, guys, I'll leave it at that. Great case. Go check them out. I'm not affiliated or anything, so I'm not going to give you a sponsor or some sort of code or something, but good case. They have a sale on right now for the next couple weeks. If you do purchase it, feel free to let them know that I referred you over from my channel. I would appreciate that a lot. And if you like the video, please subscribe, smash the like button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.